Hi Diva, welcome back to Housewives with Heather right here on the Garbage Candy channel. I'm Heather if you're new here. I'm a Real Housewives super fan, sociology diva, and mostly just a girl who loves to talk. I'm so happy to have you here to talk about Real Housewives of Orange County season 2. Let's keep going. So episode 6 opens at the Kodo insurance office at Vicky's house, but Vicky's not there. It's just Lauri and Duff. And Lauri's running some stuff by Duff. She expresses that she eventually wants to get out of the insurance business. It's not really her passion. And also, like, she has a rich husband now, so she doesn't really need the job anymore. But hey, she didn't say that, I did. Lauri says Duff is great. It's hard to work when, number one, he brings his 4-year-old son Riley to the office and he's running around. And number two, because Duff just wants to queen out with Lauri. They just want to gossip, which fair enough. That's the best part of having a job is gossiping. I'm sorry. Money and gossiping.
Duff is like a girl because we just sit there and gossip all day.
It's past 4 o'clock. We're allowed to gossip for half an hour.
Is that the rule? Oh, I got my bikini wax. I got my Brazilian wax last night.
My goodness.
And without Vicky around, both of them honestly would rather queen out. Again, Lauri says she's like, the insurance business, it's great, but it's not very exciting and I need to get back into the fashion business. I didn't know she was in the fashion business. We're learning a lot this season. Joe's a singer and apparently Lauri's a fashion designer. Many such cases. And so Lauri goes and has lunch with her friend Lorelai, who we met last season, to talk about starting their jewelry line. Again, many such cases. And Lauri says that for the past couple of years, she's been making jewelry out of semi-precious stones in her free time. I guess she didn't have a lot of free time last season because we did not see this.
Then I met Lorelai. She has a similar style and her interest was making jewelry as well. I'm going crazy because I can't get my creativity out in my business I'm doing right now.
Right.
And I go home and I make jewelry. And do you think that I would be successful at doing my jewelry line? And would you be willing to join me and partner up with me?
This is, again, where it really starts to feel like Housewives because random business venture, check. Lauri also says that George is willing to help her out with starting the jewelry brand, which I kind of expected because she also shows off the Rolex that he bought her as an engagement gift that cost $30,000. I think we all need to find ourselves a George because that is fierce. I always thought the present you get for your engagement is the engagement ring, but I guess a Rolex works too.
Well, that's just a love band. George wants to do an engagement ring.
Well, yeah, you have to have an engagement ring.
I know.
But let me see.
I know.
Oh, that
Isn't
is
beautiful?
so beautiful.
I know. That was the engagement present.
I've never heard of engagement presents.
I haven't either. What do you get a guy like him anyway?
I can tell you what you give him.
Lorelai.
What do you get?
So over at Joe and Slade's house, we see this big fancy car pull up in the driveway, and Joe says that Bob Cotrella and Juan G are two very successful producers that Joe met when she was up in LA, and they're coming by the house.
Bob Cotrella is a Grammy award-winning producer. Juan G is a rap artist, producer, super talented, amazing person. He's worked with some big names in the music industry.
After talking to you, please come in, guys. Thanks a lot.
And it's funny because both me and my friend Martha, friend of the show, both said the same thing, which is like, if you're not looking at the screen where it says Juan G, it almost sounds like she's saying Warren G with kind of a speech impediment. It is not Warren G, it's Juan G. And so they're chatting and Slade is like, why don't you sing them the song you've been working on, even though it's not finished? And she's kind of like, oh, well, it's not done. Like, well, I'll sing it anyway. And she sings it and like, mess. Like, it sounds a mess. I'm sorry. But I can't even laugh because, again, if I was rich, I would be doing the same shit, I fear. And I actually was thinking about this when I was at the gym the other day because, yes, I listen to a lot of Erica Jane music when I'm at the gym because I have, as a gay man who is 50, music taste. And a lot of the time, the remixes of her songs come up on my, like, workout mix on Spotify. I'm sorry. A lot of her songs I do genuinely non-ironically listen to at the gym because they are bangers. But I was thinking about it and I was like, honestly, as a housewife, like making gay club music, which is not what Joe is making. Let me make that abundantly clear. She is not making Erica Jane music. I keep using Erica Jane as an example because I do listen to her music at the gym, but I feel like it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyways. No amount of excellent, amazing, fabulous gay club music is worth embezzling hundreds of millions of dollars from plane crash victims. So obviously I don't agree with that. But the music's hitting, so Goodbye. Making like gay club music is probably one of the more noble ventures that a housewife can go on. Like jewelry of semi-precious stones, who's buying that? But gay club music is evergreen. And again, I do think that is one of the more noble uses of your husband's money, is making music, particularly gay club music. Whatever the fuck Joe is singing, this is not a noble pursuit in my eyes.
Is that smile? Boy, all I'm asking you is stay a while. My heart is yours. A little bit.
As if the song isn't nothing burger enough, I also don't like the fact that it's probably written about Slade. Ew. And despite it all, Bob and Juan G have taken an interest in working with Joe and producing her song or her demo. And Slade says that he's going to support her on this venture. So back at Koto Insurance, Duff is helping Vicki build a website because their business is famously growing. And this is where I'd put a sponsorship for Squarespace if I had one, because this would honestly be a perfect segue. But alas, Vicki is really thankful for Duff because she feels like none of this would be possible without him, and he's been such a huge help, especially because she feels like she's losing Lauri a little bit. She feels Lauri doesn't really have that passion for selling insurance, and now that she's got a rich man, she doesn't really need to work anymore. She's happy for her. You can tell she is a bit jealous of her that this just fell into her lap so easily, but she says, she's like, I don't want Lauri to lose her independence. And she said that a couple episodes ago, that it's like, you know, if Dawn left me tomorrow, I would still be able to support my kids, but can Lauri say the same thing?
You know, if Lauri wants to quit selling insurance, that's her prerogative, and I hope she maintains her independence and her self-worth. The fact of the matter is, she doesn't need to work anymore. She's going to have a man that...
Honey, that's not a fair thing. She still works.
I think she doesn't have the passion for insurance, and I think we both have seen
She's
that.
got passion for George. I mean...
So over at Jeana's house, Kara's boyfriend, who's a year older than her, is going away to college, and she's really upset because she says this is like the longest they've been apart. And he's been a huge support for her, and she's nervous about not having him around and having him be so far away, which I guess makes sense because like her family doesn't really seem like the most emotionally supportive environment. So she is understandably pretty upset. And she is nervous too about things changing, because she says things do change when somebody goes to college, and I just hope any change is change for the better. So she is being a bit dramatic, but I understand it.
No alcohol, no girls, no parties, no friends that make you do stupid things. Deal?
Yeah.
So next we hear Tammy, and she's telling us about how Megan and Lindsay both loved horseback riding, which they mentioned a couple episodes back, and that it was a huge source of common ground for them and a huge part of their old life, as she refers to it. So aka when they had money. And Lindsay says that now that their dad is getting money again, she wants to convince him to get them a horse, which I mean, fair, like that is something they both really love. And they literally, the only reason they stopped was because their parents ran out of money.
Why don't you guys start just coming down and riding?
Because it's
embarrassing.
It's awkward. For me, honestly, it's awkward. When I had to give up my horse, at first I felt like embarrassed about it. And it was like, okay, like I don't even want to go down to the barn anymore because they know I can't like afford like a really nice horse.
Well, now it won't be so embarrassing if you come down during the day. No one's really here. The kids are all in school.
Yeah.
And I really feel for her because things like that, like extracurriculars and sports, are a huge source of stability and support in a kid's life. And I feel like to lose that because of something beyond your control, like that must have been really hard for her. And I say that like completely seriously, like that must have actually been devastating. And Lindsay obviously does really miss horseback riding. But then Megan says apparently pit bulls are like super valuable, which I guess kind of makes sense. But apparently like a puppy can go for like $7,000. I think that's what she said. So she's trying to convince Roman to get her a horse, and he wants to keep them on his property. And Lindsay's like, I don't think that'd be a good idea because like the pit bull could eat the horse. And as much as I think that sounds ridiculous, all love to pit bull owners, but like those dogs are vicious.
I'm trying to get Roman to buy me a horse. He's been talking about it. He wants to get two and keep him on his property. I don't know if it'd be the best idea with the dogs there because I think the pit bulls could eat the horse.
Meanwhile, the women are doing a promotional photo shoot, and when they walk out of the studio, there is a Mercedes-Benz with a massive red ribbon on it, and Lauri immediately knows that's for her, and it's from George. And Vicki feels crazy about it. She feels very jealous and very crazy, and she even says that in her confessional. She's like, I feel insane about the fact that Lauri just seems to be getting everything handed to her, and like I work so hard. And like we all deserve to have things handed to us, but like this is crazy. And everybody is gagging at this car.
I got really jealous.
Is he not a great guy?
He's the greatest guy in the whole world. You're so lucky.
Yeah, I am. I know that.
Whose car is that?
my god. No, is this insane or what?
Oh my God.
Her birthday's next week, and he literally got her the most expensive kind of Mercedes, like a $100,000 supercar. And apparently it's like one of two right now, like it's not even out yet. So George is crazy, and clearly he really likes to make Lauri happy. And again, it's actually like crazy how much of a 180 this is from how we were seeing her last season. Last season, it was hit after hit after hit with her. It was always something. She was always going through some shit. And now, my God, she really is the luckiest girl in the world. And Vicky's not the only one who's jealous, because Lauri takes the car home and Ashley's also kind of jealous. She says it is kind of frustrating, like all of a sudden now her mom has a $30,000 watch and a $100,000 car. Meanwhile, Ashley still does have to work for a lot of stuff. But she is kind of being a brat. She's like, let me drive the car, let me drive the car, let me drive the car. But that's also kind of just how she is.
The first thing I thought of when my mom pulled up in her new car was that I was going to be driving it as soon as I could. The second thing I thought of was hopefully she can trade in her old Yukon so I can get a new Beamer.
Meanwhile, back at Jeana's house, Cara is still feeling kind of upset about her boyfriend leaving for college. And she says something that's very telling. She's like, I'm very good at covering up my emotions. Like, I cry alone at night. I'm a lot like my mom in that way, which, again, is very telling. And so she has these friends over. Lindsay, Tammy's daughter, is there as well. They're getting closer again. And Cara says that her and Lindsay actually used to be like best friends, and then they lost touch when Lindsay started homeschooling, and she's been homeschooling for about 2 years. The girls all like Lindsay and they want her to come back to school, but she's just not really ready yet. Again, she still kind of feels that sting of embarrassment of everybody kind of knowing what happened with her family, which I can imagine if you live in a place like Kodo is probably the worst thing ever. So I do understand why she wants to be homeschooled, but I think it would be nice for her to go back to school.
When Cara and the girls say, hey, you need to go back to high school, I want you there, I feel thankful that I have the friends that want me to go back and stuff, but I'm also glad that I don't have to.
And then here comes Shane to come and spoil all the fun and just be an asshole. And he starts teasing Cara, and it's kind of like, in my opinion, it's like beyond playful teasing. He's kind of being really mean to her because he keeps making jokes being like, your boyfriend's gonna cheat on you at college, which is like something that she's clearly already anxious about and something she's clearly been upset about all day. So I don't think it's really fair to be like, well, you're right, he's gonna cheat on you. That's just a bridge too far. There's teasing and there's poking fun, and that is like just a bit much. And like Cara's getting really upset, rightfully so. She's like, can you shut the fuck up? You're being such an asshole. Like, why are you doing this?
He's not gonna cheat on me, Shane.
Yeah.
Stop.
That girl's room is right next to Steven, and Cara doesn't know. So bad. They have a little
Stop
They have a
it.
little hole in the
Go
wall.
look at me. Lindsay's gonna start crying.
Yeah, he pulls his desk apart, and she just comes through the wall. And it's just quickie and then right back to the wall again.
Shane is kind of a tyrant. I wouldn't say Shane was like particularly nice guy last season. Like, I think he was just a boy. But this season, he's like actually diabolical. So while Cara has her friends over, Jeana says she really trusts Cara's friends. She has a great group of girlfriends. So while Cara has her friends over, Jeana and Vicky go to a cooking class, and they're kind of just trolling the entire time.
And it consists in chicken breast. Now, Vicky, what kind of breast do you usually use?
Double D.
She was double D.
No, 85% of the women in nosy have what?
Breast implants.
Okay, so these are great stuff.
And I know I said this last season, but it really is so fun and refreshing to see like women in this age bracket just like having a girls' night and like having fun. I feel like that's something we just don't really see very often. It's very liberating and fun to be like, wow, I can't wait to be in my 40s and queening the fuck out. And not just queening the fuck out, but having the grown-up money to do so. But anyways, the ladies are all doing like muff divers. I think that's what they're called. At least like muff divers, the one that I know, where there's like the thing of whipped cream and there's a shot and you have to like take it with no hands. And a bunch of ladies are doing it. Barbara the jeweler is doing it, and Vicky's like, you can't do that, you're my jeweler. Vicky can't do the muff dive. She struggles. She does not do it.
You can do it. Come on, Vicky, you can do it. Okay, so okay, first step.
Anyways, then we see Lauri go over to Lorelai's house to work more on their jewelry line. And Lauri says she's taking it very seriously, but she thinks Vicky will be really pissed if she leaves the insurance agency. But also I'm like, baby, Vicky sees it coming. And I'm not gonna lie to you, this shit is so ugly. Apologies if this is your taste and you think this is the most sickening and gorgeous and fabulous jewelry you've ever seen. We can agree to disagree because I think this shit is so ugly. They're saying they mix semi-precious stones with antique heirlooms. Looks like shit from a butt, if you ask me. And it's like, expensive too.
What we do is mix semi-precious stones with antique heirlooms and centerpieces.
I find my pieces anywhere from Asia, India, and I have a real good sense of color and style and texture.
And I just want to know, like, who's the market for this? I guess, like, other rich housewives. Honestly, though, when you go into a boutique where it's, like, all these types of brands, where it's, like, some rich woman is bored and starts a brand, and then there's, like, a boutique that stocks, like, all those brands, it's so dark-sided to me. And their jewelry company is called Bella Roche, which I think is kind of chic, but also in my notes when I wrote it, I keep reading it as Bella Porsche, like, this ain't Build-A-Bitch. This jewelry's looking a little Build-A-Bitch, though. I keep wanting to say Bella Porsche. Bella Roche translates to beautiful stone. And again, are the beautiful stones in the room with us? So they're planning out how are they gonna get this off the ground. And Lauri says George is willing to help, but she wants to do it on her own, which is admirable. But again, this shit is so chopped. I think you're gonna need a little bit of that help. And they're saying they feel confident that it'll be a successful business. And I'm like, I get it. It's 2006. So I'm speaking with 2025 eyes, and maybe this was a bit more chic and of the moment, but some of this stuff is not really $2,500 worth of nice. But alas, they're confident that this business will be a massive success, but it is definitely no skinny girl margarita, if you ask me.
George has said he's willing to help me. I don't want him to be my financial backer. I'd really like to see if I can do it on my own.
Back at Tammy's house, Tammy is going to Catalina for the weekend, and she says that she's locked Lindsay out of the house, and Lindsay's going to stay with her father because she doesn't want to leave Lindsay in the house alone because she doesn't want her throwing parties or getting into trouble. Riley's staying with Duff, and Megan is staying with her boyfriend Roman because Roman, again, with his very successful Iron Cross kennels, he makes a lot of money off of Iron Cross. I literally cannot get over that. I'm sorry. Like, that's crazy. And Megan is going to stay with him at his house and help him deliver the new litter of pit bull puppies. And Megan is saying, she's like, you know, Roman, he's like a lot more mature than other guys I've dated. Mind you, he's 36. Like, yeah, I'd hope he is. Like, yeah, my 36-year-old boyfriend is so much more mature than all the other guys I've dated. Like, yeah, I'm sure. He's definitely mature. But Megan's trying to convince him to buy her a horse still. And again, this relationship is just very weird. And he looks like Paul Wall.
You promised me a horse.
You buy the horse. Touch your dad. I'll keep the horse out here. I don't know what I'm going to do with you.
You love me. Just admit it.
I love you.
Thank you.
Megan and I are really happy.
And Megan already knows that Lindsay is definitely throwing a party at their mom's house. And Roman wants to know if they're invited. And I'm like, Lindsay is 17 and is having a high school party. You're 36. You are not invited. You are not invited, and nor should you want to be, Mr. Iron Cross Kennels. Vibes are off. Vibes are very off. But Lindsay was pissed that her mom locked her out of the house, and she said, I'm getting in that house one way or another. And what did she do? She climbed through a doggy door.
I had to climb through a doggy door, and it was awful. I have like scrapes on my back. But I had to get in some way. I didn't want to break a window. If she found out, she'd probably kill me. But I'm kind of paying her back in a sense.
What? It cannot be that serious. It literally, throwing a party cannot be that serious. Actually, when you're in high school, it kind of is. I remember when I was in high school, there was a girl in my grade who threw a party at her parents' house when they were out of town, and a bunch of boys peed all over her parents' bed and in the drawers of their bedside table and then stole their passports. I wasn't there. Apparently, it is that serious in high school. But Lindsay's getting ready to throw a party, and she's literally using the same hairspray that I use. Not sponsored. You better cover that brand name up for me, Lindsay.
I hope Megan doesn't tell my mom. I doubt she would. Because she used to throw parties all the time at my mom's house. And I never would say anything.
I think we should bust her. She'll be so embarrassed. I straight up will pick her up and throw her.
Could be fun.
So Lindsay's having this party. Cara is there as well. And Cara says she hates alcohol. She hates people who drink. Jeana thinks that all the parents in Koto should be thanking Cara because she tries to get kids to not drink. And she's hassling some kid because this kid is most definitely stealing Tammy's wine and is claiming that he isn't. And Cara's trying to get him to stop. And she's like, isn't wine for girls? And it's funny because this kid is insisting that he brought it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, no teenager brings a bottle of red wine to a party. They bring beer or they bring vodka.
Well, doesn't beer suit 21-year-old boys?
Well, there's no beer here.
Why don't you bring some? So you're not drinking Tammy's wine?
I already drank all my beer.
No, you don't. Well, then you don't need any more.
Cara again says that she's like, I hate people who drink. I hate alcohol. I just hate seeing people act like idiots. So when I get uncomfortable, I just leave. And it does kind of make sense when you remember that at the end of season 1, Jeana did mention during the reunion that Matt, Cara's father and Gina's husband, if you need a refresher, was in treatment for alcoholism. So it makes sense that Cara would be pretty anti-alcohol.
Thank you for coming. I miss you. Cara and I are complete opposites. Cara's a good kid. She doesn't really party that much. She doesn't really ever do anything bad.
Hey, put that wine away.
And the next morning, Lindsay said she's like, my mom will never know I had a party because she cleaned everything up at the end of the night and then went back to her dad's house. And when Tammy comes home, she's like, oh, I'm so happy that nobody had a party and my house isn't trashed. Which is funny because it's like, oh, my mom will never find out I had a party. But it's like, well, it's on TV, so she's gonna find out. So back to Joe. Bob and Wanji want Joe to come and record with them down in LA. And Joe is running late and without coffee, which is clearly a recipe for disaster. And so she calls Slade and basically is like, can you do me a huge favor? Can you get me my Starbies? And Slade is like, oh, I'm such your houseboy, which if you know, you know. I think that might be what Slade is best at. But time will tell. And so Joe is running late for her first session, which isn't really a great look, not a great first impression. Also, she's fully doing her makeup while she's driving, which is both impressive and also wildly dangerous. It kind of reminds me of those like videos on like Chinese TikTok and on Korean TikTok where like the girls will do their makeup while they're like commuting. Those videos always stress me out because they'll have like I can't do that.
Okay.
Hey, where are you?
Hey, Bob. I am driving down Santa Monica because I went the wrong way. Accidentally.
I know, darling, but we have limited time, so get your ass here.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna hassle her too much because I'm kind of the queen of being late. But even I know that like something that important, it's not a good look to be late, sweetheart. So Joe finally gets to the studio and she's super nervous. There's a ton of people around watching her. It's her first recording session. She's feeling very out of her depth. And then they tell her they changed her song. They're like, this is the original, and it's like the acoustic guitar that Gavin was playing. And then they play it and it's like,
this is how we changed it. Change the key too, because I know your voice was going to be too low after you sang it to me on the phone.
It's the same song.
Definitely is different. I just went on Spotify. She has like a whole EP. I'm gonna have to listen to it. I don't know if this song is on there, but she got her demo out. She got her EP out. And I'm just gonna say it. This is a disaster. She does not know what she's doing. She's very nervous. And I'm not gonna lie, she's sucking at this. She keeps blaming it on like, oh, I don't have my coffee yet. I need my coffee. Oh my God, I swear I'll do better when I have my coffee, which is fair. I always do better after my caffeine, but like, this is a mess. This is bad.
Your touch. That's it.
After that, take another 4 bars, and then your voice transcends, and then you'll see where it leads.
What's
to.
4 bars exactly?
1, 2, 3, 4.
And she is getting more nervous because she feels like she's blowing it, and she feels like maybe I'm not ready for this. And yeah, maybe you're not. I'm sorry. Like, I want to be nice, but it very much reminds me of when they do like the singing challenges on Drag Race, like either the girl group challenge or like the musical challenge, and you can tell exactly who's going home during the recording session. That is what this is giving. She's about to sashay away. And then Slade shows up, and then Bob and Wanji are saying they're like, she's actually doing amazing. She's actually amazing for somebody who this is her first time. And I'm like, they have to be being paid for this because amazing, I don't think I'd say all that. I literally just said she'd be going home on Drag Race. So
First of all, she's amazing to me for someone who's never been in the studio. Not really? Good, amazing to me, just to hear what she's doing.
Really?
Oh yeah, she just and she catches phrases 1, 2, 3 and just goes with it. And
I'll definitely give her some credit because once she does get that me espresso, she definitely does start performing better and does actually start singing better. I know I already said this in another episode, but it is interesting. Like, she feels very different this season compared to last season. She feels much less like mature, if I can say that. Not in a good or a bad way. It's just like this is a very different Joe than we saw last season. And even then, I feel like in this scene alone, the dynamic between her and Slade is very different. He seems weirdly happy to be her like stage boyfriend and houseboy. At least in this moment, he seems very happy to be doing that. But we will see how this progresses as the season continues. And that brings us to the end of episode 6. And we're rolling for episode 6. Okay. By episode 6, I fully mean episode 7. Tricked you. I was making sure you were paying attention. But let's get on with it. So we are at Joe and Slade's house, and they're sitting on the couch. Slade goes and fetches her slippers because he's doing what he does best, which is being her houseboy now, I guess. And she's on her sidekick texting, and he's on his Palm Pilot, and they're looking at her schedule for the week. And he mentions that they got invited to the album release party for Fergie's solo album, The Duchess, which is kind of crazy. Like, I get that they're in with like industry people now, but like the idea of Joe and Slade being at Fergie's album release party is like kind of blowing my mind. If you've never listened to Fergie's The Duchess album, it's fierce. The singles off it are fierce. The B-sides are fierce. I used to love the song Voodoo Doll, which is crazy. It's such a banger because it's actually about her being addicted to meth, but like I can't make the song not bop. We love you, Fergie. We stan you. But I guess it's because like, number one, the Housewives are kind of gaining a bit of notoriety, but also I guess she's kind of in the industry. I use that very loosely. So they continue going through her schedule. He mentions that there's something on Friday, and she's like, oh, I can't do that because that's my move-in date. Oh.
If you want to go do that, that's great. But I'm supposed to be your boyfriend. I'm supposed to be your best friend. And I know we've talked about this stuff, but it seems to me that if you got to the point where you just decided to like go moving with JJ, I wouldn't haphazardly go, oh, gee, by the way. That's what's hurtful, is you don't care to tell me.
She found a place in LA with JJ, which they'd already argued about because Slade thought that this was going to be a Joe and Slade thing. I see both sides here because I understand Slade is not really listening to Joe and is not really hearing her about her wanting to be independent and that kind of thing. But also, I feel like when you're living with a partner and all of a sudden you're going to move out, I feel like it does require a little bit more discussion than just like, oh, by the way, I found a place and I've signed the lease and I'm moving in. Maybe that's just me. So Slade's obviously a bit ticked because he's like, well, were you not going to tell me this? And I understand her reason for not telling him because she's like, you would just come with a million questions and you would go into daddy mode. Sigmund Freud, analyze this, which seems to be a pattern in their relationship, not just this season, but last season as well, that like he seems to have a lot of trouble letting her have some independence, like in the way a parent would with their child. And she feels like sometimes she's talking to her dad and not her boyfriend.
And you'd go into daddy mode.
Daddy mode?
Yes. Freaking treat me like I'm 5 years old. And I'm not.
And again, it's clear that this relationship just isn't working because he's not a fan of the daddy mode comment. And she's like, well, you treat me like I'm 5 years old. And it's like, well, she also kind of is acting like she's 5 years old right now because the whole reason their relationship isn't working is just because they want two completely different things and they refuse to acknowledge that the other person wants that. It just gets to a point where it's just not going to work. Slade wants to live in Coto de Casa. He wants this suburban life, family, all of that. And she literally wants the exact opposite of that. And you just have to understand that like, it's okay to want different things. Maybe your relationship just won't work. And this isn't even coming from a place of me not liking Slade and not wanting them to be together. It's coming from a place of like, mama, this shit is not working. Like, let's go back to the drawing board and research because this shit is not working. You both need to find somebody else. It's honestly just super awkward because she doesn't like the way he's talking to her. He doesn't like what she's saying to him. And again, I'm going to say it for the 50th time, just break up. Like, literally just break up. This shit is not working. Unfortunately, sometimes in relationships, especially at this stage of your life, liking the other person just isn't enough. Like, you can't just, ooh, the way I feel your way out of this. Like, I'm sorry, that has been stuck in my head like the entire time I've been recording this. In the back of my mind, like the monkey with the cymbals, all I hear is, ooh, the way I feel. Like, girl, shut up. That shit is so ass. Ooh, the way I feel. This dynamic just is not working. And even just the fact that she feels like she can't tell him should tell us everything we need to know. Anyways, moving on. So we see Tammy and Duff, and they go to like a school supply store because they're trying to learn how to co-parent without necessarily relying on the other person. How do I phrase this? They're trying to figure out how to co-parent like drop off and pick up and that kind of stuff between the two of them. Because again, she is trying to have these boundaries in their relationship. If they have a schedule, they don't have to constantly be talking to each other and calling each other, or at least that's how I'm interpreting it.
Jeff and I are going to pick out some stickers and a calendar for Riley to help him better understand who's going to pick him up at school and not have that anxiety he has.
Hi Sharon, this is Riley. We're not together anymore, and so the drop off and the pick up at school has been kind of difficult.
But honestly, they're shopping for stickers and all I can see in the background is this gigantic sign behind Duff that is neon green that says sticker in massive writing. And if you know anything about me, if I'm seeing neon green with the word sticker on it, play that flute noise. I was watching this episode a couple days before I went to the NCT 127 concert, so like literally in the back, all I could think about was like a sticker. Sorry for those of you who are not K-pop stans who don't get the reference, but this is like a Simpson predicted it moment for me. Like for me personally, this was like seeing history in The Simpsons. I don't know how to explain it any better. But the general gist of the scene is that they just have very different parenting styles. And as Tammy says, they need to find a way to make this work that doesn't rely on them being together, because Tammy's trying to move forward and move into a new chapter of her life. But also, sorry, not to go on another sidebar, they mentioned Thomas stickers, like Thomas the Tank Engine. And I just have a question for the culture, because this has been on my mind for years. I was once gaslighted into believing that it was not Thomas the Tank Engine, it's actually Thomas the Train. I know the truth and that it's Thomas the Tank Engine, but if you think it's Thomas the Train, I need you to like actually provide me with proof and receipts, because this has haunted me for years. Thomas the Train? Like, who says that?
Come on, guys. Now's not the time for Thomas shopping. Gotta earn it.
I won't kill him all the time. Do you want this one? Definitely much has Riley 50% of the time.
And you know, we're kind of at a turning point in our life, and it's kind of hard to like be together.
My parenting skills and Tammy's differ immensely. It's the yin and the yang.
As we see Duff and Tammy trying to work through creating this life apart, we move on to see Vicki and Dawn, who are trying to spend more time together. So Dawn takes Vicki golfing, and Vicki is pretty resistant to it. She keeps reiterating that she'd much rather be at the office. She doesn't see the point of this. She feels like it's a waste of time. But she also says that if Dawn doesn't literally physically remove her from the office, she won't leave. Like, she will stay there all day and she will work. But I think in addition to trying to spend more time with her family, she also was trying to find a better work-life balance. But she says something that is so relatable, which is that she's like, I'm a perfectionist, and if I'm not immediately good at it, I have no interest in ever doing it again, which unfortunately made me feel extremely seen. Where are all my perfectionist girlies out there? This undertaking of mine, making these videos, has been a huge point of growth for me and my perfectionism, is that it's like, okay, I have to actually like allow myself to not be perfect. I have to allow this lighting to drive me crazy in order to power through and get better at it. So hopefully Vicki can learn the same lesson, that sometimes you have to just like roll with the punches and be a little bad, because you won't get better unless you're a little bad.
I'm not in my comfort zone. I'm a perfectionist and I don't like not doing well at things. So for me, this is an area that I won't do again if I don't do well at it. Ow! I suck!
Bottom line is Vicki gets to spend some time with Dawn, but she thinks golf is stupid. And she's kind of right. I don't know. It looks fun, but like, I don't think I'd like it if I'm not good at it. So then we see Ashley at the townhouse getting ready with her girls to go out. And in Lauri's talking head, she says that Ashley's allowed to live at the townhouse under 2 conditions. Number 1, she keeps it clean, which from what we've seen, she's not really doing a great job at that. It looks like a gutter garbage mess. It looks horrible. She said there was rotten milk in the sink. It looks disgusting. It probably smells crazy in there. So clearly she's not keeping up her end of the bargain on that front. And rule number 2 is that she has to be enrolled in college. But as Ashley's getting ready to go out, she discovers the water is not working. So she calls her mom and she's like, Mom, oh my God, the water's not working. I went pee and I went to flush and it didn't flush and yada, yada, yada.
Oh, shoot. When I was in Hawaii, I got a call from the water district saying that I hadn't paid my bill. Oh my God. Oh shoot, I am so sorry.
It's okay. I just felt crunchy. I couldn't even go pee in my own house.
Hey, you know what?
Pause. This French tip nail moment. This square French tip nail moment. I live. I need to get my nails done, and I'm about half a Celsius away from asking the nail lady to give me those exact nails. When I hit 500 subscribers, I'm going to get those exact nails. That's a promise. You can hold me to that. When I hit 500 subscribers, I will get those nails. They are so fierce. I'm sorry. Again, I mentioned this in my season 1 series, but like a part of what I love is like the kind of sociology of beauty and fashion and like what was fierce at this period in time. Something about it just makes me so giddy. Like, yes, nail moment. We need to focus because Ashley's gotten a water. So those nails are probably filthy, dirty, nasty like the rest of the house. And Lauri suggests that Ashley takes over the water bill because she's the one who's living there. And Ashley's response is no. Because she says she's going to be a full-time student starting October 14th. So it wouldn't make sense because she won't be working full-time because she's going to be a student, which will be her way of keeping up that end of the bargain. So I guess Lauri will continue to pay the water bill. In addition to the square French tip nails, maybe that white platinum blonde starts speaking to me like a Green Goblin mask. It would destroy my gorgeous, stunning brunette locks, but I need it. I need it. I need it. So they go to the club. The go-go dancers are so sickening. Like, maybe it's because I don't really go to like any of the clubs in my city because they all like actually are like headquarters for the killer to me. But I feel like clubs just aren't doing this like this anymore.
It's hard because my mom's spending more time with George. If I'm not going to be with my mom, I'm going to go out with my friends. It's as simple as that.
With the body glitter and the bikinis and the big boots, like, I know that fierce is like my word of the moment, but that is fierce. I also decided this is the summer that I get really into body glitter. That's just an announcement for everybody. So if you'd like to join me, it's a body glitter summer. Because I'm honestly convinced that if I put a little bit of body glitter on, that I will look like this. Me all summer, my body glitter, my square French tip nails, and an orange tan, bleach blonde hair. They can't take me. Let me get my attention off the sickening and fierce go-go dancers they show for literally 2 seconds and go back to the actual plot of this episode. So Jo takes Slade to see her new apartment she's going to have with JJ in LA. And Slade thinks the place is a dump. He's not making any secret of that.
When I first saw Jo's apartment, I was not impressed. But this is what she needs to go find herself to be independent. I respect that.
And he's worried about the fact that if he's not by her, then he can't protect her. Whatever that means. Like, he's her alpha. Like, what the fuck? And Jo's kind of getting a little annoyed because he's making her feel like she's 5 years old, because he's putting the place down. He's kind of being like, it's not good. Oh, I don't think you can protect yourself and blah, 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 which is like, he's making her feel like she's 5 years old, which is exactly why she didn't want to tell him in the first place. And I know I sound like I'm on the fence in every single conflict because I keep being like, well, I see both sides of it, but I will get to my thoughts on this more three-dimensional view of conflict within Real Housewives in a little bit as we see a couple of things unfold this season. I will get to that, trust me, because I have a lot to say. But it very much is like, I understand why she didn't tell him and why she wanted this for herself, but also I understand why he's upset, especially because like you guys have been having conflict. There's a lack of trust. Now suddenly your girlfriend wants to move out. It's sort of like, what are we doing here? Like, literally, what are we doing? You know, I'm not a fan of their dynamic. That's a pretty known fact over here, but I don't think it's the healthiest dynamic to have your partner treat you like they're your parent. Again, Sigmund Freud analyzed that. And certainly not healthy for fostering a long and trustworthy relationship. But hey, I'm not an expert. I'm just a girl who watches the show. But anyways, they go out on the balcony and Slade points out that they can see Bloomingdale's from her balcony. And she literally is like the Carrie Bradshaw in Paris seeing the Eiffel Tower clip. Like, oh my God.
Well, you can see Bloomingdale's from here.
Honey, I can see Bloomingdale's. I'm so excited. I'd never noticed that. You like it?
It's not Kodo.
Honey, this is far from Kodo. And I love that.
It really feels like that picture of like the guy, I think he's in like a Gucci backpack. It's literally falling off the bone. And it's like, come on, bruh, like just let it go. Just let this relationship go. You clearly are not right for each other. You haven't been right for each other since last season, but now it's really starting to show. Anyways, back to Tammy. Tammy is getting ready to go out on a date. Ooh, that was a harsh ass. Oh, do I speak Canadian? Yes, I do. Fluently, actually. As we've seen, she's clearly trying to move on from Duff and trying to kind of move into the next chapter of her life. So she's going out on a blind date, which is really exciting. She's a little nervous because she hasn't gone out on a date in a while, but Tammy still got it.
I never thought in a million years that I would actually be saying I'm going on a blind date. But life is short and, you know, why not?
Steph and I, we love each other and tried a zillion times to make it work, but it's not working. So dating is something I'm really pushing myself to get out there to do.
I need to do this. I need to move on with my life.
Yes, Miss Tammy. Jason had this girl Tammy with the purple Bentley. And how she got it, I never get to ask. I just knew that she was fine, like a ticket on the dash. So as Tammy's getting ready to go out, Riley, her 4-year-old son, starts scream crying. Kids are honestly ridiculous because they'll be having an absolute meltdown, and when you're like, what's wrong? It's some shit that makes no sense. And you just have to like let them do their thing and try to walk them through it, because he's crying because Lindsay's sitting next to him, and then he's crying because Tammy's going out on a date.
Daddy.
Lindsay, what, honey?
Daddy's sitting next to me.
Don't you want Sissy to sit next to you?
No.
Why not?
I'm just running away from her.
You're gonna be a good boy? Because mommy has to go out for a little bit, okay?
No.
A little bit.
But anyways, Tammy reveals she's only ever been in 2 long-term relationships. One was with her ex-husband Lou. The other was with Duff. Tammy arrives to her date. She looks fantastic, but Tammy feels a bit awkward, and she kind of says like she's not really looking for a relationship. I think she just wants to see what's out there, especially because she was with Lou for I think 12 years, she said, and then Duff for 10 or 11. So she just wants to like let Tammy have a little hot girl summer or something. But he makes a joke about like, oh, I don't put out till the 4th date. And this asexual diva, she's like, I never put out, so.
I was trying to make a joke about how I don't put out until the 4th date or something like that. Which is a lie, by the way.
But Tammy's friends crash the date, and she kind of is like, thank God, because she feels she's not really cut out for dating right now. It's really awkward, and she needs to kind of figure out what she's looking for. All we know is she's not looking to get back with Duff. She does not need that right now. Anyway, moving on. I could have sworn this entire time that Lauri's like youngest daughter was named Sophia. It's Sophie, so if I've said Sophia at all, sorry. I could have sworn she was 4 years old last season, and now she's 8. And I know that like the timeline is kind of wonky because I think this is like summer of 2006, so like some people are like between their birthdays, but I could have sworn that kid was 4 years old last season. And no, I'm not about to go fact check. So anyway, Lauri and Sophie show up to the townhouse unannounced to check up on Ashley, and the place is a disaster.
Don't go in there. Please don't.
Oh my God.
Gus is look at what's up.
Where is she putting the trash at? The trash has not been put out for, I think, like 2 months.
Like, it's a mess in ways that don't even make sense to me. There's pots in the garage. There's cat shit everywhere. And I know she said in an earlier episode that when she goes out, she puts the cats in the garage so they don't like pee and poo all over the house. Get a litter box. Like, what are you talking about? But that doesn't explain the pots and pans in the garage. It's not making sense to me. And Lauri's obviously pissed because she's like, okay, literally the one thing I asked you to do was to keep the townhouse clean, and this place is a biohazard zone, so what the fuck is going on? Also, cat shit like really smells, so why would you not clean that up? So Lauri starts getting worried because Ashley's not at the house, it seems. Like, the bedroom door's locked. Ashley's not picking up her phone. She's now moving from being angry to being worried.
Ashley, where are you? I'm at the house right now. I came by to get my mail, and I mean, my bedroom door's locked, so I don't know what's going on. I'm actually worried about you. I don't know if you're in the bedroom and something's wrong or what. Call me.
So Lauri calls George, and she's sort of like, she's pissed off, obviously, because it's her house and Ashley's made a mess of it. And George says, he's like, she's probably mad that her maid quit, the maid being Lauri. Turns out Ashley was in the shower, and Lauri goes and she tries to open the door, and Ashley gets mad because she's like, I'm naked, like, move. They start arguing, and Lauri's asking her, like, hey, girl, there's doo-doo feces all over the wall and all over the floor, like, do you not notice? Like, what is going on? We need to talk about this. And Ashley's like, no, not when I'm naked. Like, get out of my room. And Lauri's like, well, that's actually my room, so hold on.
I don't have time for this right now. I am so frustrated right now. I just have to get away and think about this. Ashley, we need to sit down and talk this weekend to figure out what we're going to do with this place.
So Lauri goes to VICKI for parenting advice and is like, what do I do in this situation? Do I kick her out? What am I supposed to do? And VICKI says that Ashley and Michael seem like they're sort of cut from the same cloth because they both are pretty irresponsible and lack a lot of motivation to do things, to put it simply. And VICKI doesn't think that Lauri should kick Ashley out because she's like, she clearly still needs you. Like, she's not responsible enough to be out on her own. And I'm kind of obsessed with Lauri's outfit here. The pigtails, the Von Dutch, like, fierce. And Lauri's reiterating her rules where she's like, she either needs to be working full-time or in school because this is just insane. So Lauri leaves a voicemail with Ashley where she's blinking like crazy. That's all I can focus on, is that she's like But she talks about, she's like, is it easier for me to just sell the townhouse? Like, if you can't maintain it and keep it up, then literally what's the point?
Because I'm really am very tempted to sell the house. I think it might be easier, you know, if you're not able to keep it up.
And I do agree with Lauri that, like, she's not asking too much, but also knowing what we know about Lauri and, like, the fact that she was married to a rich man and all of that, I don't think much has been asked of Ashley in her life, which isn't me saying that it's okay for her to be living in squalor, but it might explain some of the lack of responsibility and lack of motivation to be responsible. Anyway, speaking of families where the kids have probably not been asked much in their entire life, we see the Keough household. And as we know, the house is not just full of badass kids, but badass dogs as well. And Jeana feels like she bears the brunt of taking care of these badass dogs all the time. I'll just say, I'm noticing a pattern with these Kodo kids. That's all I'll say. I'm not a parenting expert, but this inability to take responsibility does somewhat feel like learned behavior, but it would make sense. A lot of these kids taking responsibility doesn't come naturally to them, sort of a little nurture versus nature moment. So because Jeana feels like she's the only one who takes responsibility for these dogs, and the dogs aren't necessarily very well behaved, clearly, and so Jeana invites a dog trainer over to stop the dogs from peeing in the house.
Inger, we think she might be the one to help me train these dogs.
And here are these.
Scout,
Mowgli, Calvin,
Mowgli,
and
Travis.
Noodle.
Travis Noodle, got it. And all of them potty trained?
So we see Matt emerge, and Jeana mentions that he does not take care of the dogs at all because he thinks they're useless. He only likes dogs if they have a purpose, like security or hunting. So he plays no part in taking care of these dogs. He does not like them. Honestly, whenever Matt enters the room, the vibe like shifts, and not in a good way. Matt comes in the kitchen and is like, do you want to see a $50,000 dog? And brings everyone into the room to watch hunting videos with this black lab in it. It's so awkward and weird.
Matt doesn't really like any of our dogs. The little dogs he considers nuisances because they have no purpose, so he won't feed them, he won't give them water. It's just, they're your dogs, you take care of them.
Dogs are like children, they don't grow out of problems, they grow bigger.
Well, we're gonna try.
Yes.
And Matt talks about how these dogs, they'd never barked, they were so well behaved, and the dog trainer asks, so what happened to the dog? Matt says that Jeana had friends over and one of them left the gate open and the dog escaped and was unfortunately hit by a car, which is really sad, and as I'm sure you can imagine, created a huge point of contention in their marriage, but we will get to that in a second. And everything from here just gets progressively more and more awkward and uncomfortable as Matt continues to talk about how his dogs, they weren't allowed in the kitchen, they were well behaved, all of that, and it's clear their family's just dysfunctional because the trainer keeps emphasizing, well, it's not just training the dogs, like we also have to train you guys on how you treat the dogs and how you look after the dogs. And he's just being really pessimistic and kind of just generally being a huge asshole.
It's not the dogs, it's the people.
That's what she said a million times. Why don't you just stop being so negative? She said, I'm training your family. I'm training your family. I'm training your family. Don't ever change. They'll never change. I'm training your family. It's all about the people. She already said that.
Everybody gets frustrated with Matt, but I get to a certain point and I ignore it anyways.
And so the dog trainer asks, she's like, and how long have you guys been married? And they've been married for 20 years. Jeana says the good thing about Matt is that he's gone a lot of the time. And he makes a comment that every time I watch this makes me like recoil. It makes me so uncomfortable. He says, just long enough for her friends to kill my dog. Which is just like, the dog dying is very sad and unfortunate and could have been prevented, but it's just such a cutting remark that clearly shows how much resentment he holds towards Jeana. Probably not just for that, but for a lot of things.
And how long have you guys been married?
20 years.
The good thing about his job is he's gone a lot. Maybe 300 days a year he spends in a hotel.
Just enough for her friends to kill my dogs.
In Matt's talking head, he talks about their marriage and he says he'd rather be wrong and stay miserable than admit that he's wrong and go and get happy, which is kind of crazy to say in relation to the marriage you've been in for 20 years. That comment alone just speaks volumes about their relationship and about their dynamic and just even the dynamic of their entire family. I feel bad for this dog trainer who just has to like watch this couple who clearly hate each other and be like, so here's how we stop your dog from peeing in the house. And he's like, my wife's friends killed my dog. Like, whoa, slow down. It's very eye-opening and very uncomfortable.
I'm stubborn. I've made a life commitment. I'm not going to go out and try to find some 20-year-old girl to marry. So I'd rather be wrong and stay miserable than admit I'm wrong and go get happy.
So then we see Joe and Slade, and it is moving day. So Joe is moving out of the house and into her apartment in LA finally. And she expresses she's very excited to be moving and to be starting this new chapter of her life, but it's kind of sad to be leaving behind Kodo and the memories and all of that. But ultimately she is more excited to start this new adventure and get back in touch with herself and the person she was before moving out here. I'm really happy for her. I think she needed this. I think losing your sense of independence at any stage of your life can be difficult, but especially when you're so young. I said this last season, but she should have been at the club. She should not have been doing Slade Smiley's laundry in the suburbs. I don't know if Kodo's the suburbs, but I'm going to call it that because it is giving suburbia.
I will play.
Want to get back to me?
It'll be like a friendship necklace. You take half, I take half.
Oh, is that what we're doing?
I'll display it in my room.
Remember the good times where you guys got into a fight and he took them off your car. The crazy thing is, I think they both realize that they need to break up. Because if they weren't having relationship problems, they could probably deal with this like adults and it wouldn't seem like the end of the world. And although she's sad to be leaving Kodo, she says she has no doubts that this is the right move and that this is going to be a fresh start for her. And ultimately, I'm happy for her. I'm very happy that she finally gets out of Slade Smiley's house. This is literally what we've been waiting for since season 1. And part of why I very much think they both know this shit is over, when they show her taking all her stuff out of the closet, it's not like she leaves some stuff in Kodo on the idea of like, oh, I'll be back on the weekends, or like, oh, yada yada yada, like I'll come visit. She takes all of her stuff. Like she moves out completely, which is somewhat telling to me. As I mentioned before, the spiritual and metaphysical are weirdly really big parts of the Real Housewives, which is huge for me as somebody who's into that kind of stuff. Definitely something that is a running thread through all of the franchises. But Vicki invites the women over to her house because she has an astrologer coming over. I need to be here. I need to be getting my chart read with these ladies and drinking cocktails. Joe obviously is not there because she is moving up to LA, so it is just Vicki, Lauri, Jeana, and Tammy. And Brad, the astrologer. Vicki says she'd offer Brad a cocktail, but she wants him to be completely sober while he tells her about why she is the way she is. So we start with Lauri. Lauri mentions she's a little nervous to have her chart read because her life is like a dream right now, and she's scared that there's going to be something in there that's going to be like, and it's about to be taken away, diva. But the astrologer explains to her she has a Scorpio sun and a Cancer rising, and that she has a tendency to act like her kid's best friend, which we've seen.
And the interesting thing about your chart is, with Cancer rising, motherhood and family are the most important issues for you in home life. Now, based on that, watch out for a tendency to be your children's like best friend.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to like pull in the reins a lot and be like, this is, I'm mommy talking.
Right.
You know, this isn't like your best friend. We have a great relationship and we're friends, but I'm still your mother.
Very true.
And George is like, you're expanding your horizons. Maybe you're going to meet somebody that could be the love of your life. And she's like, well, I actually already have met someone. And she tells the astrologer that George is actually a Pisces. Pisces mentioned. Honestly, Pisces are a sign that are like drastically underrepresented on the Real Housewives. There's only like a couple Pisces throughout the entire dynasty of Real Housewives, which is crazy because I feel like they're overrepresented on Jersey Shore. Even though there's not a lot of Pisces representation, there are a lot of women named Heather. So I'll take what I can get. But Brad tells her that since George is a Pisces, that's actually really good and they are really compatible, which they are because they're both water signs. And back in the house, Vicki keeps emphasizing that she just really wants to get to the bottom of why she is the way that she is. And Vicki's actually an Aries, which makes sense why she has such an intense energy. And Aries are so funny because I feel like they would take that as me saying that as like a negative thing. What do you mean we're intense? Like, that's exactly what I meant.
Control freak, is that what you mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think I'm a control freak.
You don't think...
Aries and Leos never get
Every
along.
single thing in this house is under your control. Your closet, your daughter's closet, the kitchen, the refrigerator, the freezers. It's pretty amazing.
What does that mean?
know,
What
it's like-
does that mean? Does that mean
Shut the door.
controlling, or does that mean just organized?
Control freak.
It can me feel like Aries aren't good people.
Oh, please.
I'm getting scared.
I'm trying to swear less. I don't know if you noticed that, but the cocktails they're drinking actually look good as fuck. Capital F. Also, in my notes, I wrote, Vicki says she's getting scared, and then I put like a scribble. I don't know if you can see that. I didn't know how to write a key smash, so I just put a scribble. Because Vicki had me laughing my ass off here. Like, really, girl? You're not a control freak? So up next is Jeana, and Jeana says something that is so unbelievably on brand. She's like, I'm not going to change who I am depending on what he says. Like, I am who I am, and like, that's not going to change it. If any of the women are going to be like, oh, this is some woo-woo bullshit, it was going to be Jeana. And she's a Virgo. Even just from that little comment, baby, we can tell. Even though she kind of like brushed this off as being bullshit, Brad the astrologer kind of gags the fuck out of her. He's saying she's super mom and she's kind of like a mother figure to everyone around her, which we've seen. And she tends to neglect her own needs and put everyone else's needs before hers, which we've seen.
Pay close attention to what your needs are these days.
You don't.
You don't at all.
No.
According to your chart, you really ignore what your inner needs are, especially your emotional inner needs. So that's all coming into play right now with Mars sitting there.
And the astrologer's like, you know, where Mars is sitting is telling us that you need to voice any tensions that are going on. And she's like, well, I do. Girl, no, you don't. You've been in a loveless marriage for 20 years and you're telling me you voice all your concerns? Okay.
But are you venting to the people that are... That's the important thing. You need to vent to the people causing the tension.
What happened to this time?
Some of my wife's friends kind of lit her out, and she got run over on the road down there.
Really?
A couple years ago, yeah.
Okay. Well, it's something. Just don't bottle anything in, and I think you need to go to the direct source of whoever's causing the problems.
But no, she's kind of eating her words because he did actually gag her. And then she comes in and classic Virgo, she's like, well, he didn't tell me anything I didn't know. I already know everything. And I'm allowed to say that because I'm a Virgo moon. So then next is Tammy, who is a Leo sun and Leo rising. And the astrologer is like, he's like, they're regal. They love being the center of attention. They've got killer looks. And she's like, And honestly, this astrologer is actually so good. I don't know if he was like fed information by production. I don't care. I'm choosing to believe he was not, because he says, he's like, you're probably experiencing something really challenging with some disillusionment because of an old relationship. Well, yes, she is actually. And back in the house, apparently Lori's chart says she loves sex toys.
But you used to tell me toys for the way that you got up every morning, so.
Oh my God, you remember that?
Like, remember, I'm an Aries. I don't forget a thing.
And I can't believe I like you. But my mom's an Aries. No.
So up next is VICKI, and VICKI says she's expecting the astrologer to tell her she's insane because that's what everybody else tells her, but she just wants to know why. So VICKI in her chart actually has something very rare called a grand trine, which she's very excited about, which according to the astrologer means that when she was born, she had 3 different planets in all the signs of an element. So she had like Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius, which means that she will always be full of energy. We can tell. No, we can tell. And she's so geeked because she's like, so it's not my fault that I'm always go, go, go. I'm not a freak. I'm not a freak.
I just want everyone in this room to know my planets formed a perfect triangle, and I am not a freak. I'm all about energy.
Oh my God.
I can't help it. It's who I am.
He's lying.
My soul was born with energy.
I could have told you that.
I know this was like 10 years ago, but is Brad the astrologer still taking clients? Because I need him to read my chart. I'm honestly obsessed with VICKI's primary motivation is just like, can you just tell me I'm not a freak? Mama, you kind of are, but that's why we love you. That brings us to the end of episode 7. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I'm so grateful and I'm so happy. And if you made it to the end of the video, don't forget to leave a like, maybe even a comment, maybe even subscribe to the channel, maybe even hit the bell. That's a novel idea, so that you don't miss a single update on the Real Housewives of Orange County Season 2 and beyond. But until then, I will see you next time for more Housewives with Heather. Goodbye, Diva. Mwah. You would think he just saw a ghost. Bad PR for brunettes going on here because you're tacky and weird.